Batman The Dark Knight number 8, written by Joe Harris, art by Ed Benes. We left off last issue with pretty much the end of the arc, end of the first arc, though we saw that the White Rabbit girl is actually the woman who Bruce Wayne is romantically interested in, Jai, that was it. That has nothing to do with this issue. Even on the cover, where there is White Rabbit, she's not here, so this is just pretty much standalone. So it opens up with Batman being called to a crime scene by Jim Gordon, and they're like, yeah, usually we chalk this stuff up to, the Rogues Gallery, like the ones we all have, but yeah, no, not this one. And as Batman walks inside, he sees all these victims of what seems to be brutal violence of, they're all basically been killed, and Batman uses the evidence to come to the conclusion of they did this to each other. Like, these people were brutally killed by each other. So yeah, he's like, all right, I'm going to go do some research, and he heads back to the Batcave. And Alfred's like, sir, are you so sure that there is, like, an actual mystery here? And he's like, I have to believe that Gotham isn't literally tearing itself apart, Alfred. People are better than that. And it's like, yeah, probably, Bruce. I have to imagine that. So he goes back out because I don't even know what he was even looking at here. I think it's something about the tunnels, like the underground isn't safe. But anyway, we cut over to Jim Gordon, who's being taunted by Lieutenant Forbes of Internal Affairs. And he's just like, Jim, I got it in for you. And he basically, long and short of it, says, I'm forcing you to go see a shrink. You have to have your emotional stability evaluated. And if you fail, then you're off as a commissioner. So, yeah, that's the gist of it. And for some reason, Jim is really, really pissed about this. Cut back to Batman. He's going down in the tunnels, and he discovers a crack in the wall of an old, like, service wall or something like that. And he peeks inside to see if he can find something. There's a rumbling overhead, and he's like, oh, it must just be a train. But it turns out, as Alfred says, there aren't any trains running by them right now. So it's actually Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Just two big people who are both pretty stupid. Their names are, I know it's in here somewhere. Dumpson and Deaver Tweed. Great names. So they start fighting Batman because Batman, I guess, is snuck up on him or whatever. And they get a few good hits in, but as soon as they get Batman reeling backwards from a hit, they just run. They're just like, all right, we're out, bye. So Batman gives chase. He heads down some subway sewers, and he figures, okay, these guys are too stupid to, like, do anything. Like, they definitely didn't kill the people in the subway, and they're too stupid to make them do that, but they are definitely involved somehow. And as he gets to them at the end of the tunnel, explosion goes off, and they manage to get away. Cut to a senator is making his announcement for a presidential bid. He's on TV, he's in Gotham, and as he's making his announcement, he just pulls out a gun and shoots himself in the head. I have to imagine that's related to this violence. Regardless, we cut over to Gordon, who's in his therapist's office. And he's just like, look, everything you say here is confidential. You don't got to worry about it. And he's like, well, how much do I have to tell you to get the guy off my back, huh? Do I have to tell you about my daughter who is in a wheelchair? Do I have to tell you about my wife who in my daughter's book is now back? Do I have to tell you about my son who in my daughter's book is also doing things? By the way, read Batgirl. And then he basically says, do you take the subway to work, ma'am? And she's like, yeah, sometimes. And he's like, you shouldn't do that. This doesn't come back. I don't know why we did this. Regardless, Batman's trying to logic through, and he's trying to figure out what's going on with the Tweedles until finally he gets some analysis for a transmission that his cow picked up while he was down there, and the signal traces back to on top of a rooftop in Gotham. So he goes up there, and when you know it, Mad Hatter is mind-controlling people. Kind of his whole shtick, and as soon as you saw Tweedledee and Tweedledum, you'd think you would have figured that out, but turns out no. So he kicks Mad Hatter's face in, and then he goes to fight the Tweedles, but they turn on the mind control thing, which Bruce struggles to fight against. And then Mad Hatter just goes on this whole thing of I didn't do anything to these people. I simply let them be who they truly are. These people are animals, blah, 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 and they'll kill them, whatever. It's literally the same thing that we've been doing, where it's like, is it true? does Gotham really want to like destroy itself that badly, or is it just waiting for the right origin story? They literally say that. So helicopter police come in, and Bruce has to take care of the situation before the helicopter pilot is has his mind taken over, and they all crash. So he throws one of the Tweedles into the satellite rig, knocks it out, and then he just body slams Mad Hatter off the roof, and he's like, I'm not gonna let this city beat me, or I'm not gonna let anyone beat this city, or something like that. Regardless, he looks up at Jim, who's also in the copter, and he sees that he's also had a hard day, and they're like, but you know what, it's just as good as any day can be here in Gotham. And then you can imagine that's where like the opening credits come in of like the show, but no, that's where the issue ends. Next issue, by the way, is a tie-in to Night of the Owls, so yeah. So it's a standalone story. I don't understand why the White Rabbit character did not tie in to Mad Hatter here. Like, that seemed like an easy fit. She's literally on the cover, so you'd think she would be. But no, she had nothing to do with this as far as I can tell. So, I don't know. It wasn't an awful issue, but it's just, this whole series has just been one of those things of like, it's taking itself so seriously, but it's not actually saying anything. Like, but what if this city isn't actually better? But then the issue ends with, I'm Batman and I represent the city and I'm better, so therefore the city is better. And it's like, okay, and we went through 6 issues of what makes you scared. And I'm like, I'm tired of it, you know? As for this issue, art was okay. Story was pretty blah. I give it a 6 out of 10. It's not doing anything. It's saying a lot of big things, but then when you really think about it for more than like a second, it's like, yeah, and? Like, it's not saying anything of substance, but it's like talking in a very authoritative voice, if that makes any sense. So yeah, it's a 6. Whatever. I never really did particularly give this book a chance since it opened on hulked out Two-Face, but it hasn't earned a chance yet, so yeah.